Every morning, there's a silent war raging. It starts before your feet even touch the ground. It's not between you and anyone else. It's between who you are now and who you're meant to be, between comfort and growth, between sleep and purpose, between quitting and rising. You feel it, that tug in your gut, the knowing that you were built for more, but life keeps trying to convince you to settle. That small voice whispering, "Just 5 more minutes," is the same voice that talks you out of your dreams. It doesn't yell, it quietly steals your potential. But here's the truth: no one's coming to rescue you. No one's going to force you to become the person you're meant to be. It's on you. All of it. The grind, the sacrifice, the discipline, and the rewards that follow. Get up and grind, not because it's easy, but because you refuse to die with regrets still buried in your chest. Part D. Por posi before Kasur. There's a pull in life that whispers to us constantly. A quiet tug toward what feels good right now, what soothes our discomfort, what numbs the ache. That pull is powerful, and in the moment, it's incredibly tempting. The soft escape of scrolling endlessly, the comfort of staying in bed just a little longer, the quick reward of avoiding the hard conversation or skipping the workout or saying yes to fit in when everything inside you wants to say no. That pull is pleasure. It's easy, accessible, and immediate. But there's another force, one far less flashy, far less urgent, but infinitely more powerful. That force is purpose. Choosing purpose over pleasure doesn't mean you deny yourself joy or rest. It's not about self-sacrifice or living without happiness. In fact, purpose brings the deepest kind of joy there is, the kind that sticks, that settles into your bones and reminds you that you're building something bigger than the moment. When you live with purpose, you trade fleeting comfort for enduring meaning. It's hard to choose purpose, especially in a world that celebrates the fast fix and glorifies ease. We live in a culture that pushes pleasure at every corner. Treat yourself. You deserve this. Don't work too hard. And while those messages aren't inherently wrong, they can become dangerous when they distract you from the deeper call of your life. Purpose requires patience. It asks you to show up when it would be easier to check out. It demands that you stay when everything in you wants to run. Purpose means saying no when everyone else is saying yes, and yes when it would be so much simpler to say no. It's waking up early to chase a dream that might take years to build. It's being present for your kids when you're tired, showing up for your friend when it's inconvenient, choosing truth even when it costs you something. Purpose isn't glamorous, but it's sacred. There's a quiet rebellion in choosing purpose. It's saying, I won't let the moment own me. I won't be ruled by instant gratification. I have something more important to build. You begin to learn that the things that satisfy your soul rarely come quickly. You start to see that the life you're proud of is built day by day, moment by moment, in 1,000 tiny choices that no one claps for. And yet, those are the choices that shape you. Pleasure is loud. It's immediate. It's right in front of you. Purpose is quieter. It waits for you. It doesn't chase you down. You have to move toward it, and when you do, something profound begins to happen. Your life starts to align. You stop drifting. You begin to live from a place of intention, of grounded courage. You stop performing and start becoming. You find that fulfillment doesn't come from more comfort, but from more commitment. There's also grief in choosing purpose. You grieve the ease you're giving up. You grieve the version of yourself who could just float through life without questioning things. You grieve relationships that were built on the shallow exchange of distraction instead of depth, but that grief clears space. It makes room for real connection, for clarity, for healing. Choosing purpose over pleasure is not a one-time decision. It's a daily one, sometimes hourly. You'll be faced with it in moments no one sees. Will you choose to keep writing when it's hard? Will you choose to love when it's uncomfortable? Will you keep healing when it hurts? Will you show up when it's not fun? Will you do the thing that matters most, even when it's not the easiest thing to do? There's beauty in choosing purpose. It shows up in the resilience you build, the trust you develop with yourself, the sense of integrity that grows when your actions line up with your values. It shows up in the long arc of your life when you look back and realize you lived on purpose, not by accident. You didn't coast, you didn't hide, you lived wide awake. When you live for purpose, you're not chasing validation. You're rooted in something deeper. You're no longer trying to prove yourself. You're expressing who you already are. Your goals become reflections of your values, not masks to hide behind. You become more honest, more grounded, more whole. And yet, it's not about being perfect. You will choose pleasure sometimes. You will fall into the momentary high. You'll skip the hard thing. You'll avoid the discomfort. You'll check out. But here's what matters. You notice it and you return. You come back to your purpose again and again. You reorient. You recommit. You keep going. Because this is your life. No one else can live it. No one else will build your legacy. No one else will carry your purpose into the world. That is yours to carry. And it will be heavy some days. But it will also be holy. It will be the most sacred thing you ever get to do, to choose the path that matters over the one that's just easy. You will rest, yes. You will laugh. You will celebrate. You will absolutely embrace joy. Because a life of purpose is not a dry, joyless march. It is vibrant and rich and real. But that joy will come from knowing you are living in alignment with who you are and what matters most. That kind of joy doesn't vanish when things get hard. It stays. So the next time you feel the pull to escape, to numb, to silence that quiet voice inside that's asking you to stay, to do the thing, to show up, pause. Ask yourself, is this moment serving the life I want to build, or just soothing the discomfort I'm afraid to face? The choice will never be easy, but it will always be worth it. Every time you choose purpose before pleasure, you are choosing growth over stagnation, depth over distraction, legacy over momentary ease. You are choosing to become, not just to exist, and in that becoming, you will find your strength, your truth, your life. Part 20 Discipline Ice Uarharastlly. There's a quiet truth that doesn't make headlines, that doesn't go viral, that isn't often glamorized, but it is foundational to every life that flourishes with purpose, healing, and growth. That truth is this: discipline is not your enemy. It is not punishment. It is not restriction. Discipline is your greatest ally. It is the structure that holds you steady when your emotions try to sweep you away. It is the anchor that keeps your soul grounded when your fear tries to send you running. It is the steady hand on your back reminding you that your future matters more than your feelings in the moment. There is a lie we are often sold, that motivation is what will change your life, that if you just feel inspired enough, everything will fall into place. But the truth is, motivation is fleeting. It rises and falls like the tide. It's here when things feel exciting, when the path looks clear, when the energy is high. But the moment life becomes mundane, or hard, or uncertain, motivation vanishes. What's left in those moments is what truly defines you: your discipline. Discipline is the decision to keep showing up when you don't feel like it. It is waking up and choosing the hard thing because it aligns with who you want to become. It is saying no to distraction, not because it's bad, but because you know something better is waiting on the other side of your consistency. Discipline is honoring your commitment, even after the emotion that made it has passed. It's not glamorous. No one celebrates the early mornings when you roll out of bed to do the work. No one sees the late nights when you choose silence over scrolling so you can write, study, build, or reflect. No one claps for the moment you decide to keep going, not because it's fun or exciting, but because you promised yourself you would. And yet, those unseen moments are what shape your life. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It's saying to yourself, I am worthy of the life I dream of, and I'm willing to work for it. It's not rooted in shame or guilt. It's rooted in love. You don't practice discipline because you hate who you are. You practice it because you believe in who you can become. It's not about being perfect or rigid. It's about being devoted to something that matters to you. And yes, there will be days when it's hard. Days when you're tired, overwhelmed, discouraged. Days when it feels like your effort isn't making a difference. But here's what discipline teaches you: results are not always instant, but they are always building. Every time you show up, even imperfectly, you are reinforcing the belief that you can trust yourself. You're stacking bricks, one by one, that eventually become a foundation strong enough to hold your biggest dreams. Discipline also protects your energy. When you live with intention, you no longer waste time on things that drain you. You stop giving in to every impulse. You begin to say no more often, not out of fear, but out of alignment. You don't need to chase everything. You know where you're going, and that clarity allows you to focus your heart, your time, your energy on what matters most. It also gives you freedom. That might sound contradictory, but it's not. The more disciplined you become, the freer you feel, because you're no longer trapped by your moods. You're no longer a prisoner to chaos. You don't have to wait until everything feels right to move forward. You move because it's time. You act because it's who you are. And in that consistency, you find peace. You find strength. You find identity. There will always be temptations to quit. There will always be easier roads to take. But the life you want isn't built on ease. It's built on intention. You're not here to drift. You're here to design. You're here to heal. You're here to grow. And all of that requires effort, time, and persistence. Discipline doesn't guarantee that every day will be perfect, but it guarantees that you will keep moving, even when things are messy. Think about the version of you that you're becoming, the one who follows through, the one who does the work, the one who speaks with integrity, lives with purpose, and acts with courage. That version of you is not created in a single breakthrough moment. They are built in the repetition of disciplined action, over and over again, until it becomes who you are, not just what you do. Discipline doesn't silence your emotions, it holds them with compassion, but doesn't let them drive the car. It says, I see you, fear, I hear you, doubt, I know you're here, insecurity, but we're still moving, I'm still showing up, and in that gentle, persistent courage, you learn that you are stronger than your avoidance, braver than your excuses, and more powerful than your pain. And when you fall, and you will, you don't start over in shame, you begin again in grace. Discipline teaches you that failure is not the end. It is a lesson, a redirection, a new opportunity to recommit. You learn to get back up quicker, to stay focused longer, to forgive yourself faster. That is resilience. That is discipline in its most compassionate form. If you want a life that is meaningful, that is rich with connection, growth, peace, and truth, you must choose to build it. You don't wait for it to arrive, and the tool that will guide you through every uncertain storm, through every difficult season, is not motivation, it's not excitement, it's discipline, gentle, firm, consistent, loving. So the next time you feel like quitting, the next time it's easier to walk away than to lean in, remember that discipline is not working against you, it is working for you. It is not a punishment, it is your freedom. It is not about control, it is about alignment. And when you align your actions with your values over and over again, you will wake up one day to a life that feels deeply, powerfully, beautifully yours. Not because it happened overnight, not because you got lucky, but because you showed up, again and again and again. That is the quiet, revolutionary power of discipline. Part 3. Pinas part of typhus. Pain was never the enemy. It feels like it is because it hurts, because it shows up uninvited and brings with it the sting of loss, the ache of disappointment, the deep pull of heartbreak, the heaviness of failure. But pain isn't a punishment, it's a part of the process. It's the space where things shift, where growth begins, where old pieces fall apart so something stronger can be rebuilt. Pain is not a detour. It's not proof that you're broken. It's proof that you're in it, that you're living, stretching, healing, becoming. There's a cultural myth that says, if you're doing it right, it won't hurt. That if you're strong enough, smart enough, spiritual enough, you can bypass the messiness. But the truth is, every meaningful transformation includes discomfort. Every breakthrough is born from something breaking. Pain is the doorway, not the dead end. When you numb your pain, you also numb your capacity for joy. When you avoid it, you miss the wisdom it's trying to offer. Pain reveals what matters. It shows you what's worth fighting for. It invites you to slow down, to pay attention, to care deeply. It strips away the noise and reveals your truth, not the filtered version, not the polished one, but the raw, honest core of who you are. There's courage in allowing yourself to feel it instead of running. To sit with it, breathe through it, and ask it what it's trying to teach you. It's not about getting stuck in your suffering. It's about letting the pain shape you without letting it define you. You learn that you can hold sorrow and still choose to move forward. You can be hurting and still be healing. Pain also connects us. It levels the playing field. No one is immune to it, no matter how put together they look on the outside. When we share our pain, we open the door to compassion. When we stop hiding it, we begin to realize we're not alone, that in our vulnerability, we find our deepest strength, not because we avoided the hard parts, but because we walked through them with our hearts still open. The process of becoming who you're meant to be will ask for everything you've got. And sometimes that will hurt. But don't confuse pain with failure. Don't mistake the ache for a sign you're off course. Often, it means you're right where you need to be, stretching beyond what's comfortable, growing past what's familiar, digging deeper into what's real. So breathe. Trust that the pain has purpose. Trust that it's shaping you in ways you can't yet see. You're not falling apart. You're being rebuilt. And when the light returns, and it always does, you'll know that every tear, every scar, Every step through the dark wasn't wasted, it was part of the process. And so are you. Part for the sacrifice tici tal far grecus as greatness doesn't arrive wrapped in ease. It doesn't show up on your doorstep one morning with a bow, asking nothing in return. Greatness demands something. It costs something. It requires you to give more than what feels comfortable, to stretch beyond what feels safe. It asks for sacrifice, not in a way that breaks you, but in a way that shapes you, to live a life of deep purpose, to create something meaningful, to become someone who stands in truth and courage. You will have to let go of some things. Maybe it's comfort. Maybe it's approval. Maybe it's the version of yourself that fit into the expectations of others. Maybe it's time, sleep, convenience, or the ability to do what everyone else is doing. Sacrifice means choosing long-term alignment over short-term pleasure. It means turning down noise so you can tune into what really matters. You can't have it all and give your all at the same time. Something has to be released so that something greater can be born. And this is where many people get stuck, not because they're not capable, but because they're not willing to let go. But the truth is, you can't grow and stay the same. You can't rise and cling to what keeps you grounded in fear. Sacrifice isn't loss, it's the price of entry to a life that's honest, grounded, and extraordinary. And it's hard, it hurts. There are days when it feels unfair, when no one sees the work you're doing, when others are relaxing while you're pushing through, when progress is slow and results feel distant. But the difference between those who build something lasting and those who only dream about it isn't talent, it's willingness. It's the consistent, quiet choice to keep giving what the dream demands. Sacrifice also reveals what truly matters. When you strip away what you're willing to live without, you're left with what you're never willing to compromise. It creates clarity. It simplifies your path. You stop trying to please everyone. You stop trying to do everything. You start doing the things that align with your purpose and your values. And yes, you'll feel the cost, but you'll also feel the growth. You'll feel the grit, the depth, the sacred pride that comes from knowing you didn't take shortcuts. You chose the path of integrity. You did the work. You gave your time, your heart, your effort, and in doing so, you built something no one can take from you. Greatness is never accidental. It is intentional, and every great thing ever created, whether it was a movement, a masterpiece, or a legacy, was born from sacrifice. That's not something to fear. That's something to honor. Because when you give up what's easy, you make space for what's exceptional. And that's how greatness is earned, one intentional sacrifice at a time. Part 5 Yo your BREAS ONIOTR CD off consistency. Why there's a moment we all wait for, the breakthrough, the turning point, the shift. That day when everything starts to make sense, when the results finally show up, when the fog lifts and you feel the reward of all the effort you've poured into your growth. We crave that moment. But what we often forget is where it lies. Your breakthrough isn't hidden in a sudden burst of motivation. It's not waiting behind a perfect plan or a big opportunity. It's on the other side of consistency. Consistency isn't flashy. It's quiet. It's repetitive. It looks like showing up day after day when there's no applause, no external validation, no visible progress. It's writing the words even when you're uninspired. It's getting back up every time you fall short. It's choosing the aligned action even when it feels small. And that's the hard part. Because small steps don't always feel significant, but they are. The work you do in the unseen moments is the soil where the breakthrough is planted. It doesn't sprout overnight. It grows through the repetition of honesty, effort, and showing up when it's hard. Consistency is what separates the wish from the reality, the potential from the progress. It's what builds the foundation strong enough to hold the weight of your dreams. You may not feel the shift at first. You'll wonder if it's working, if it matters. That's normal. Change doesn't announce itself as it's happening, it reveals itself afterward. And often, just before the breakthrough, you'll be tempted to quit. That's how close you are. That's how much the process is testing you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because who you become in the waiting is just as important as what you're waiting for. Consistency is not perfection. It's not about getting it right every single time. It's about returning, again and again, choosing to come back to your intention, to your path, even when you've been distracted or discouraged. That returning builds self-trust. It tells your brain and your body, I'm someone who keeps showing up. And that belief changes everything. Eventually something clicks. The work adds up. The shift happens. The door opens. And people will look at your breakthrough like it was sudden, but you'll know better. You'll know it was built in the mornings you didn't want to get out of bed, in the moments you kept going when no one was watching, in the hours you poured into your craft, your healing, your vision, without guarantees. Your breakthrough isn't waiting for a perfect moment. It's waiting for your consistent effort. It's on the other side of your resilience, your discipline, your faith in what you can't yet see. So keep going, keep showing up. You're closer than you think. Become unpacks. So what are you waiting for? Permission. You don't need it. Perfection. It doesn't exist. A sign. This is it. You've got fire inside you, more than you realize. And the only way to honor that fire is to grind, to work when it's hard, to rise when you fall, to speak when it's uncomfortable, to keep going when no one claps for you. Greatness isn't born, it's built by people who are tired, broken, exhausted, and still refuse to stop. You don't need a miracle. You need to get up and grind. Right now, not tomorrow, not someday, now. This is your moment. G&D, grind.